Hey Earth Guardians, it's Serpentine. Welcome back to my channel. I am here yet again to bring you the weekly energy update. This is a pretty major week, if only because we have a very significant astrological happening going down on Wednesday, August 14th. We have the Mars-Jupiter conjunction in sidereal Taurus. So that's going to be, I think, really dominating the week, considering Moon will be transiting through Scorpio very soon, and it will be in Scorpio when that conjunction goes exact. And considering Mars is the ruler of Scorpio, and the conjunction is directly opposing the Moon in Scorpio from Taurus, I think that we are definitely in for a very significant shift in the collective story amidst this ongoing Australasia new moon cycle that we are in. But before I get into the cards, I just want to remind you all to, first of all, subscribe to the channel. I'm hoping to be a bit more active here on YouTube, considering my recent hard pivot I've had to do in my life. For those who don't know, I am currently in week 2 of my homelessness journey. I'm currently staying over at a friend's for a little while. And because of that, I'm having to dial a little bit back on my Twitch stream that I had been focusing a lot of my energy into for the past year, and kind of reconsider my approach to what I'm doing with my content creation and everything. But I'm excited to get back into making YouTube videos. I've experimented with a lot in the past, and I do feel like I have evolved to a point where I feel like I can come to this platform and offer something that is going to stand apart from what other people are doing in terms of divination on this platform. Additionally, I also want to remind you that my books are open for private sessions. So if you resonate with this reading and you would like to connect with me for a one-on-one private session, you can go to my website, mythicarts.com/levelup, and you can see all of my current offerings: Serpent Tarot, Akashic Records, mediumship. It's all there. Feel free to check it out, and you can book directly on my website. And if you don't see a time that works for you, shoot me a DM, email, whatever, and I'm certain we can work something out. So hit me up. Okay, now let's finally get into this reading. I am definitely looking forward to this myself because I do feel, at least in my own experience, I am in a bit of a liminal zone right now. And when I pulled some cards for this side, when I pulled the cards for this blurb over here, it definitely reinforced that vibe. It does feel like many are on the precipice of needing to make some significant change or are in the midst of some big crossroads in their life, and that it may feel a bit uncertain which direction we are meant to be going in on a certain level. However, I do think that whatever indecision that we might find ourselves in at this point, I do feel like by the full moon, we're going to have a bit more clarity as to like what that big decision or what direction we're going to need to be going in, which is nice because I don't want to have to wait very much longer personally. For those who don't know how I work with the cards, I use a combination of tarot and Vedic astrology, as well as like my intuitive mediumship skills. And I use a spread that I kind of created myself that's based on something that I call the way of empowerment. And there's going to be one card for awareness, one card for integration, one card for choice, and one card for results, as well as a card for the underlying energies. And then we'll check out some cards at the bottoms of the decks and pull a couple extra little oracles for some bonus messages. What this spread is great for is understanding what we most need to become aware of, how we can best integrate that, and from that place of having integrated that awareness, what is the highest choice available to us to reach the highest result, and therefore continuously make the most empowered decisions to stay consistent and in alignment with our highest destiny timeline. And I do think that doing this on a weekly basis is a nice just check-in, considering that part of the reason why I have really resisted coming onto YouTube or even doing this kind of thing on Instagram or TikTok is because I do feel like divination in the age of social media has become a bit like junk food popcorn a little bit. Not that there aren't great readers out there doing great work, like 1,000% there are, and there are some that I really do love and admire. But I do feel that just constantly consuming divination is actually not that healthy. But I think once a week, it's like a nice amount to be doing this outside of like your own daily divination practice that you may or may not have, which I encourage everyone to not just take my word for it, but to really cultivate your relationship with your own intuitive structure. And that's a huge part of what I really love to do in my work with my personal clients, which is that eventually, you know, it's my hope that they can no longer need me. You know what I mean? Not that I don't want to see people, but you know what I mean? I do think that it's important that we, over time, cultivate that relationship so that we can feel confident in our own ability to navigate these energies and not outsource so much our reliance on external people. Although obviously sometimes there are cases where it's hard to be unbiased and it's helpful to have that third party perspective. I think that it's just good to have a right balance. And so I'm trying to, in doing this, find that right balance within myself so that I don't feel like I'm a part of the problem. Okay, I got the cards out. Let's get into it. For awareness, we have 4 of Wands. And this is actually, I'm really loving this as the awareness card because it's talking about a lot about actually what I have here in the blurb, which is like what is coming into your awareness right now about what it is that you truly desire for the long term. I think that when we are going through a profound change, especially when we are closing some significant cycles in our lives and we're kind of in that liminal space between the old and the new, it's a great opportunity to kind of reflect, especially if we have Mercury retrograde right now, a time to really slow down a little bit and reflect on what it is that we truly desire for our lives, especially when we are going through a skin shed like we are in this month with the influence of the Ashleisha energies, the star of the serpent. When we ourselves change, a lot of times what we desire for our lives changes. And so I do feel that there's going to be a bit more clarity around what really lights you up, what like milestones maybe you want to be going for in the long term that you can potentially start to break down into short-term goals, like kind of, you know, pit stops on the way to that more long-term goal. And there may also be awareness coming through around the practical ways that you can go about structuring your life on a foundational level in some fashion around how you're going to be showing up every day to chip away at those goals and make steady progress over time. Because again, you know, Rome wasn't built in a day. We can have these great ideas for our lives and these grand visions for what we want. But ultimately, if we're not grounding that in some sort of like daily foundation, then we're never going to really get there. And there's going to remain, you know, these elusive ideas and concepts. So it's going to be a really good time to, I think, lean into dreaming big and daring to open up your heart to allow your heart to tell you what it is that you truly desire and to not overthink it from the mind, because this is about passion. It's the fire element. It's about creative potency. And I think that when we are going through such immense change and we're shedding a lot of layers, we can sometimes be prone to overthinking what that might be or trying to logic our way out of things or figure out the right path. And it's less about trying to figure things out and more about allowing yourself to be guided by your heart. And with Ashleisha, it's a lot of it has to do with like shedding mental programming, because it is about Cancer and the moon and the mind and that kind of thing. For integration, we have the Hermit in reverse, which is interesting because I would consider the Hermit to be a card of integration, and yet to have it in reverse is almost like a bit of a counterintuitive thing. I think that the vibe is going to be that you may want to be pressing forward really quickly. I even had that a little bit in the blurb here. A major crossroads will soon be at hand, though it's not quite time to make those big decisions, so don't force them. This is going to be a time to lean in to that continuing reflection, meditation, contemplation, journaling will be really powerful during this time, and allow the awareness to crystallize more deeply in your own heart around what that's going to not just look like potentially, but also feel like. This can be a great opportunity to work with vision boards, so some sort of like open-ended creativity around kind of getting things, kind of like engaging in practical ways to like workshop your vision, but not necessarily start projects on a, majorly huge scale, so to speak. It's kind of more about that playful, open-ended imagination vibe and what you can discover through these methods of contemplation, such as journaling, meditation, and that kind of thing. And to not necessarily try to jump the gun around like, oh, this is what I want now. Let's do blah, 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 X, Y, Z, whatever. Like, let's go, 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 go. It's like, no, let's continue to simmer and marinate. It's like the marination type of energy where it's like, let those juices of awareness sink in, let it really fill you with this new flavor of what you want for your life. And when you can sit with that for a while, it will actually end up having a stronger, like it will leave a stronger impact on your system, and you'll be able to actualize that vision from a more embodied place than from just simply like a more abstract place, if that makes sense. So this is really about connecting the dots between envisioning something and taking practical action on those visions by allowing the visions to really marinate and to play around with what that could be in whatever way is accessible to you and whatever way feels right to you, but without like going full throttle on starting the process in some grandiose way, because we are still in Mercury retrograde. So the emphasis really is on that reflection, review, maybe returning to some old project that you had previously started and kind of reviewing that or refamiliarizing yourself with that before you go forward with that if you had put it on the back burner. Like all those types of things are at play right now. And it's a great time to like prepare yourself to be ready to, go off to the races when that time is right. It's just that I don't think that time is right now. For choice, we have 10 of Wands in reverse. We have the imagery of the eclipse on here as well. And with this is kind of like the pressure of the Mars-Jupiter conjunction, I think in particular. Again, we do have a significant major crossroads soon at hand, and I think that a lot of people are going to be feeling the pressure to make final decisions to close out these cycles, and that's a huge part of what this week is about, go within to close out a major cycle. And so I think that there's a need to really lean into the inner work right now and to allow yourself to release any stagnant emotions and really complete the inner transformation of your identity that's happening with these Ashlesha energies before we can really make the decisions around what we're starting in a new way. Like that's why it's the 10 of Wands reverse instead of the Ace of Wands upright, And it may be uncomfortable, but at the same time, I think that with the 4 of Wands energy and awareness, this is a very positive card of new foundations, big milestones, goals, dreams, and being excited around the possibilities for what lies in the future. And so I think it's going to be good to remember that if you are dealing with some heaviness that is arising around what it is that you're leaving behind, or like the old chapter, that kind of thing that you are in the middle of closing out right now. And a lot of this is probably connected to the energy of the eclipses, especially, I would say, the Virgo story, the sidereal Virgo, because we do have the Hermit here, and Hermit does talk about the energy of Virgo a lot of times. So definitely consider what that relates to in your eclipse story. And again, if you don't know about Vedic astrology or what your Vedic astrology chart is or anything like that, you can go to my website, mythichearts.com/chart-calculator, and you can calculate your Vedic astrology chart, and you can find out what house sidereal Virgo is for you, and sidereal Pisces, where the other eclipses have been. And you can get a better idea of like the themes of what is undergoing a massive transformation for you, like what domain of your life is being most affected. But what I will say is that we are definitely on the precipice of closing out some very heavy energies, especially, related to processing grief or overwhelm or whatever it is that you're having to kind of release right now in order to open up that space to allow the new to have that space to start to grow within yourself, and then eventually when you externalize that into outer actions in your outer reality. So I think the best choices to make this week are the choices that are going to help you close out anything that is in the process of needing to be closed out. So if you, for example, have moved to a new home, maybe you are needing to kind of like deal with a lot of the practical matters of like closing out all your old, utility bills and all that kind of thing. Like just the things that maybe feel like there's a lot of pressure on you to do in a certain time frame. Or if you're feeling the pressure to like end a relationship, like any kind of thing that's going to like eventually like really result in some significant relief for you, considering how it will help you to lock in the new identity after the skin shed. Whatever you can do to help facilitate your own skin shed right now and complete that process will be really bearing the most fruit this week in terms of like what choices you can make to generate the greatest result. And the result for this week, the highest result, is Hierophant in reverse, which is an interesting card to come up as highest result. I think that a lot of what we are becoming aware of this week in the Earth Guardian community is what we truly want for our lives that maybe we didn't let ourselves pursue or even consider as a possibility because we were still operating in the context of participating in existing systems that we are being asked to not be participating in anymore. And when we can really integrate what it is that we truly desire from in our hearts and experiment around like how we can practically bring that into our lives, even if it means doing things in an unconventional way, because the Hermit is a card of doing things like as a pioneer and being a kind of thought leader and not somebody who is a follower of other people. It's more like you are carving your own path from the light of your own heart, and other people can be inspired by your embodiment of your truth. It can sometimes be hard to be on the cutting edge and have to make certain choices where maybe you're having to end things that you invested in back before you realized that you had to be the hermit or the creator of your own destiny and not try to follow in the footsteps of somebody else or some other pathway that was more conventional, so to speak. But ultimately, if we have the courage to show up for this, we do have the opportunity to really break free from old paradigms and old ways of being and systems that we were once entrenched in, and that can give us the opportunity to really start to draw our new reality in a powerful way. As the underlying energies, we have Seven of Wands in reverse, which is really emphasizing the fact that, the pressure is on. Like there's definitely going to be, especially with this like 10 of Wands reverse as well, like there is a lot of externalized pressure from the astrology of the Mars-Jupiter conjunction, along with some other things that are going on this week. And in general, from the momentum, the energetic momentum of the eclipses that we have been going through, I would say since the nodes changed last November, but definitely since the eclipses started in this series of the Virgo-Pisces eclipse axis back in March. Definitely think back to that time and consider, the ways in which your life has really transformed and how you are being asked to like really take the next step in what this is for you. We are now less than 1 month out from the next eclipse season, which starts in September. So we are now really starting to feel the draw of that new chapter of the eclipse story unfolding for us all. And so this pressurized time is really asking us to show up for the level up that we're going to be getting very deeply initiated into in September all the way through October and the beginning of November, which of course will dovetail quite interestingly with some global events that will be going down, at least here in the United States. At the bottom of the deck, of my tarot deck, Serpent Fire Tarot, we have Queen of Swords. We love to see it. You can see, oh gosh, she's Don't ban me, YouTube. She is somewhat naked right now, but basically her heart chakra is lit, you guys. There's a heart activation happening this week, and it's going to be really important to lean into that and really allow yourself to feel the feels and open up to the possibilities of that miraculous creator energy that can be accessed from the heart space. And I do think that, with this Hierophant reversed Queen of Swords energy at the bottom of the deck, this is a massive mental jailbreak that's going to be allowing you to pursue. Oh my God. Holy. Oh my God. That was a huge earthquake, you guys. I cannot believe I got that on video. Wow. That is such a powerful omen. I am speechless. You guys, I'm shaking. This is going to be a huge week. I'm telling you. Be very careful about who you let into your energy. This is going to be incredibly important to, it's like, that was probably the biggest earthquake I felt in quite some time here. And I've lived in LA for 16 years. And we also had one last week. And we had a huge one in Japan, actually 2 in, off the coast of Kyushu, Miyazaki Prefecture. So yeah, you guys, major earth changes, major cycle completions. And I would just say, really be on top of your spiritual practices, Earth Guardians. If you don't have a meditation practice, start now, or at least try it out. This is a time where it's going to be this is a very significant time, you guys. I can't even believe that just happened. We're back. Cheetah reversed at the bottom of the deck, although I didn't even go over deer. Deer appeared. I drew deer from my animal deck. This is another heart-opening card. Definitely a time to lean into your inner child and remember what lit your heart back when you were a child, and to bring that from your past into your current embodiment, if that's something that speaks to you. But we have a lot of green on this card, and there's a new dawn happening, but it's going to really require you to access that heart space. And it may be something that you have to really be intentional around because of the pressure that's going on, that you might be prone to kind of being mentalized around that pressure. Holy crap, you guys, I'm still in shock about that earthquake. Cheetah in reverse at the bottom of the deck. You guys, this is what I said here. Major crossroads will soon be at hand, though it's not quite time to make those big decisions, so don't force them. You may be feeling the need for speed, but they're telling you to pump the brakes a little bit until the integration has been completed, because you will be coming into a lot of clarity, but you're going to need to pace yourself. So really resist the urge to rush ahead, and remember that it's a marathon, not a sprint. I also drew some other cards from my Sacred Symbols Oracle deck by Marcella Kroll. We have Message that came out with this moth on it. I guess you can't really see the words. Sorry, too much glare. That says Message. And this is Affluence, the Sri Yantra. And again, more green. Huge heart opening, huge heart awakening. I do think that for a lot of people, there will be some really powerful information coming in, potentially around either inner messages that you're getting from your guides around what it is that you are creating that's coming into fruition right now, or potentially you might be getting messages from other people around powerful opportunities that could bring in abundance or some sort of fulfillment of your heart that you can engage in collaboration, because we do have collaborative dreaming come up from my Sacred Rebels Oracle deck. And so it may be that this is going to come in the form of some sort of opportunity for partnership, especially because a huge recurring theme that I have been seeing in my divinations for this month and next month is really powerful partnerships that are coming online. And for some people, this is talking about, needing to make the choice to break up with a person or to call in the right partnerships, whether that's like leaving a job to get a new job opportunity or leaving a romantic relationship to call in the new relationship that you can like work with on a new level. So there's a lot of that going on as well. Again, your mileage may vary depending on like your specific situation. But again, if you want to get more deep into your situation, mythichearts.com/level up with me. I would love to connect with you. And then at the bottom of the Sacred Rebel or Sacred Symbols deck, we had the release card. So another focus on letting go, shedding that skin, you know, allowing whatever needs to come up. You know, you got to feel it to heal it. And Heaven Sent at the bottom of the deck from my Sacred Rebels deck is really all about knowing that you are here for a purpose. And part of this time is really stepping more deeply into your empowerment and following your heart to actualize that purpose by embodying your truth moment to moment. And in doing so, really facilitating the collective jailbreak from a lot of these oppressive systems that we are still operating within to a certain extent. And the more people who can really engage in that work in their own individual way, the more that we can collectively work towards building out these new systems that are going to be more in alignment with the environment, humanity, and the truth of who we are as spiritual beings. Okay, with all of that said, thank you for being here. Thanks for bearing with me as I just experienced. I don't even know what the fuck. I have to go on Twitter for Earthquake Twitter right now and see what Richter scale earthquake that was, because that was some intense shaking. But yeah, thank you all for being here. I hope to be posting these weekly. If this reading resonated with you, again, if you want to connect with me for a personal session, mythichearts.com/levelup. You can also follow me on my social media. I'm on Instagram at serpentine.rising, Twitch at Serpentine Rising. I hope to be getting back to streaming at some point soon. I just don't know exactly what I'm going to be doing with it quite yet due to various technical and space constraints, but we'll see. Yeah, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you all in the next one.